discussion this morning. So this is the kind of shit that starts civil wars. So, all right, let's do this. Let's go live.
Whoop.
All right, I think we're good. It says we're going live. I think we're live. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome. Happy Saturday. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Caliber Corner. It is season 3, episode number 182. And we've gathered together to discuss a topic that we really haven't talked about yet in all the episodes that we've done so far. The AR platform. Do you want to go 5.56 or should you think about going other calibers? There's already some interesting comments popping out there on the YouTube side of the chat. Before we get into this discussion and get into the arguments and leave not as friends, we're going to go ahead and let the panel introduce themselves. So let's do so. On my left, I've got Defense Dad, another fellow Nebraskan. Defense Dad, what is going on, bro?
Not much. I'm almost awake this morning and just glad to be here.
All right. Did you get a chance to go to the range recently?
Why, yes, I did.
Good for you. Good. Didn't we? Yeah. And so you got a lot of new stuff coming up on the channel, a lot of surprises, and you got a great channel. Guys, make sure you check out Defense Dad's channel. He's got some really cool content over there. Make sure you like and subscribe, and a lot of goodies coming. You want to give us a little teaser about what's coming up on the channel? Any hints as to what you're going to be dropping soon?
Nope.
Right.
Other than P11 photo bombs be in my intros.
Hey, you're always welcome to jump in my videos too. You know, it's all good. We're there at the same time anyway. So yeah. Just remember, when you go to the pistol range, decaf next time, okay? Decaf.
Yeah.
All right, man. Cool. All right. Also joining us, he's up early, everybody. Night Strike. How's it going? What do you know, man?
I think I want to go back to bed.
Yeah. Welcome to my world. So, anywho,
yeah.
So you got yourself a little build going on there too that you're going to be working on.
Everybody's heard about it. I've been working on it for about a year. I haven't gotten around to buying the upper. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's just it. It's going to be a little bit of an investment. And that's part of the discussion too. Is do you want to drop money into a new platform? Maybe get into a caliber that you don't have yet. Considering ammo prices, is it really a smart thing to say jump into 300 Blackout at this point, or even 762 by 39 is starting to get up there in price. So that's kind of where we're going to go with it, or 9mm for that matter, right? So all right, and Nice Strike, you got a little podcast that you do. What's that all about?
Well, when I'm not on hiatus, I do a little podcast called Get or Miss Tuesday nights 9:00. The starter before Caliber Corner.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it's the warm up for the week, man, and that's 8:00 Central Time for those of us that live in the free states of Tornado Alley. So, yep. I'm telling you, America just needs to break off. The central part of the U.S. needs to turn into the United States of Tornado Alley and just turns into its own country because we're all just kind of like two-way merging with one another right now, which is a good thing.
Depending on what things happen, I think the United States might split up, but it'll probably be most of the South and the Midwest.
Yeah, I think so. I think just that huge chunk and then let the coast take care of themselves.
Yeah, the coast will be by themselves.
Single shot, we have lots of room for you and your friends and family out in Nebraska, so don't worry about that.
I love that state. That is a really nice area.
It's a flyover state, and that's fine. We don't want you here anyway, so. I like my open space. I like the fact that I can look out my window and see for miles and go out to my range that goes out to, like 2,500 yards,
There you go.
Man. All right. And then so Single Shot, why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel and what you got going on these days? What do you know?
Well, running the roads, as you can see, I'm about 2.5 miles from a receiver. So I might have to jump off of here for just a little bit while I'm dealing with that. But I'm taking care of my dad and his affairs. He's in the nursing home, so that's just another pile of stuff that I've got on top of everything else. I'm working on some ideas for videos for the channel. I've got some new equipment that I'm going to be playing with. I'm going to be doing some videos on that.
Okay.
And thinking tonight I'm going to do a little bit of casting. I finally got a hold of some lead, so I'm going to be doing some bullet making tonight.
Cool.
So that might be on the as a video on the channel as well. With that, like I said, if that video rolling, that's a live camera from the truck. bothers you.
Oh, I
let me
thought this
know.
was a video game. I thought you're just
Oh,
doing
no.
Truck Simulator 2021 on your PC right now.
Oh no, you're live. You're looking out through the windshield with me right now.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, so guys, make sure you check out Single Shot channel. It's single space shot exclamation point, because there's a lot of single shots that are out there on YouTube if you look around, but there's only one single shot. So there you go. All right, so let's check and see who's joining us on the YouTube side. We got a big crowd out here this morning. It's going to be good stuff. We got Watt75 in the house, E-Rock, Jason Stewart, Evans Jacques is out there, MKJO in the house, hot dogs, tacos and french fries. I want a hot dog. Jason Stewart, Southpaw RX out there too. Ozzy Orangeborn's out there, Scott79, M. Gabriel, first person to show up. And Night Shaft just got here too. So Single Shot, there's already a question for you coming from the chat side. What road are we on? Where are you at, Single Shot?
We just jumped off of I-95, the main toll road, main turnpike as it's called.
Are you up in the Northeast, or where are you at right now?
Yes, sir. I'm in Maine.
There you go.
State.
Beautiful state. Look at that. Look, it looks just like Nebraska. There's trees. No, just messing with you, man. Beautiful country, man. All right. So, I guess one of the reasons why I wanted to have this topic is, I'm in the process of putting together some lowers, and I'm considering what to go with. Do I want to go with something different? Do I want to use a caliber that I already have in a different barrel size? I have a decent amount of experience with non-5.56 AR platforms. So when you talk about this, what we're saying is you're using a 5.56 223 AR-15 lower, and then you're using a different caliber with it. So I've got experience with 300 Blackout, 7.62 by 39. Let's see, also 6.5 Creedmoor. Well, that's AR-10 technically, but there's a lot of options out there. I don't have an AR-9, but I do have 9mm pistol caliber carbines. Got a fantastic Gen 1 high point 995 sitting over here, coming on the channel soon. So what's your experience, guys, just in general with these non-5.56 ARs? Has it been a positive experience, negative? Do you wish you would have just spent the money on 5.56 ammo and uppers, or get a really nice AR instead? What do you guys think?
I liked my 7.62, except for it was a side charger and hit me in the face. So I think do it. If someone, are we approaching this from the stigma that people have anything other than 7.62, or just for usability? Because people make fun of certain calibers and ARs, but I'm of the mind that I don't really give a damn what someone thinks about what I own.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes when you're buying into a platform, like take the 7.62 by 39 AR-47, I guess we can call it. You're kind of buying yourself into, certain magazine selection for one thing. They can be somewhat finicky. Like with mine, I ended up having to buy an enhanced firing pin to get it to work with steel case ammo. Some people have to swap out the hammer springs. I mean, it's almost like, to me, it makes a good second gun, but maybe not necessarily a go-to-war weapon or a primary rifle for defense, unless you know it's going to fire every time. Now, my 10.5-inch 300 Blackout pistol behind me has been solid the whole time. I've had no issues with it. I got plenty of 300 Blackout ammo for it. I've had it for like 3 years now. And so I'm sitting good, but there just seems like there's a lot of trade-offs when you get away from 5.56, or when you start to go to, shorter barrel length in firearms. Now, yeah. I thought you were going to make a comment.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, that's the whole point, right? The AR platform is supposed to be so versatile. Why the hell not take advantage of it?
Yeah, because if I'm remembering right, Travis, you had issues with a pistol build at one point, didn't you?
Yes. Okay, so a couple of years ago, I had the Radical Firearms 5, but that was a 5.56.
Right, but it still applies.
10.5-inch barrel, and I was just using a PSA lower, nothing crazy, and it just wouldn't cycle, it wouldn't feed. And I don't know if it was, I had all these great suggestions from a lot of people out there in the community. Hey, try different buffer strings, maybe try a different gas tube, maybe see if the gas ports are drilled out properly. And then I ended up sending it back to Radical, and they sent it back to me, and then it worked okay, but it still had some double feed issues and stuff. I don't know what was up with it, because I would try a different pistol upper on that lower and had no problems at all. So, I mean, and that's part of the problem too, I guess. If you're buying from a couple different companies, there might be a little, I mean, they're built to a certain spec, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, it seems like you can really start to run into issues if you're buying from different manufacturers. There might be some different tolerances and things like that they build to, and it can just be kind of problematic. So you got to go into a non-5.56 AR platform with an open mind. I was a little disappointed to have the issues that I had with mine. My 300 Blackout 8.5-inch upper that I had did have problems. The gas block came loose on the first magazine. I actually ended up sending it in because I didn't have time to deal with it because I was in the middle of a move, literally a house move at that time. Got it back. It just turned out that it was loose. But like I said, with the 7.62x39, I had to get that enhanced firing pin. I had problems with one of the C Products Defense magazines not feeding. So you got to be very patient when you get into the non-5.56 route, just because you're dealing with something that is being adapted for a certain platform. Let's talk about let's start off with the AR9s. Okay, you want to go with a 9mm build, okay, using a 5.56 lower. Where does a person begin? Nice Strike, why don't you kind of explain your journey to us with putting this whole thing together?
Well, I haven't bought in the upper yet, so I don't know.
But okay, so you want to adapt it for 9mm. Let's just say you got the 9mm bird and you don't care, right? So what does a person do, and what are some of the pitfalls you run into with this kind of an adaptation?
Well, if you're gonna build an AR in 9mm, there's a couple ways you can do it. One, you can get the AR lower for that's in 9mm already, so you don't have to adapt anything. Or you can do what I did and go a little crazier and just get the adapter for the magwell of a normal AR-15 and do it that way. And that's what I did. So, and then I've got some Colt SMG mags for the magwell, and I posted on my Instagram a long while ago of the pistol build I got going. I just got to buy the upper for it, and it's depending on who you get the upper from, the uppers lately are kind of pricey, and that's why I've held off on it because I just didn't want to spend that much money into it yet. But now it's coming to the point where if I don't, I'll never get the upper, so I might as well just bite the bullet.
So, I mean, what are some of the issues you can run into that you've got this magwell adapter that you're using with it, and then you've got your magazines? I mean, are there problems that these have when you get the build together, like any kind of short stroking issues at all, or because are these using like a blowback style? They're using a blowback style system, right?
Yeah,
but you still have a recoil, so you're still using the buffer spring and everything else, though, right?
Yeah, but remember, I bought the CAC Blade 2 pistol kit.
Now, I'm talking about the actual gas system itself. Can there be any problems that people sometimes run into with these builds where it just doesn't cycle properly, or you've got to run a certain grain of ammo through it, or feeding issues?
Possibly, but from what I hear, as long as you got the pistol style buffer in your buffer tube, it doesn't matter what you what kind of ammo you're using.
And here's the thing about it: if you've got the receiver sitting around and you've got it set up for a pistol build, it's not really a big deal to just get that upper and put it together and finish it. But now on the other end, Nice Strike, don't you think it would just be smarter if you're going to spend $600 or $700 on this build, which is probably what it's going to cost you when it's all said and done? Just go get yourself like a Ruger PCC or go pick out some other purpose-built 9mm carbine and kind of stay away from this whole AR platform in general. I mean, do you think, looking at how you're looking at it right now, would it have been smarter just to go buy something different?
No, because I wouldn't have been able to buy piece by piece by piece.
Okay, there's an advantage to that. I agree totally.
Because I didn't have the money to build this build all up front, and I've been buying part by part slowly. So that's why I went this route, because then I can build it on my time and not have to build it on somebody else's.
And the other thing too is if you've got the AR-15 parts and accessories sitting around, you've got extra parts sitting around, you can, like you said, piece by piece, put it together.
By the way, the pistol grip on that is the one you sent me, remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like it's the adjustable one that I got as part of a tack pack.
Yep.
And that's just it. Having that parts compatibility, you can kind of tinker around with it and put one together and have a good time. Hey, also joining us, we've got a little Squib load in the house. Squib, what are you doing, man? You got a hall pass? You're late.
Yeah, and I don't know how good the reception is either.
You sound pretty good, man. Did you have a party pretty hard last night or what?
Yeah, something like that.
All right. So, Squib, what's your take on the AR-9, man? Do you think is it worth getting into, or would you rather just go get a purpose-built 9mm carbine, like AKV or say High Point 995 or something? What's your take on the whole AR-9 thing that people are going into?
Well, that platform's been around for a long time, so
True.
I mean, it's any pistol caliber AR is just I almost wanted to say it's not as multi-purpose. Maybe I should say it's a little bit more specific in what it does. That's all. I mean, when you get the pistol caliber, it might be better for home defense if you've got a smaller area to protect. I've considered using it for deer hunting because of the hunting laws in Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, and not an AR-9, like an AR-45. I mean.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, or a 10 millimeter, or possibly even a 40 caliber, just because of the magazines. But for something like that, I don't know. I'm not opposed to a pistol caliber carbine. I just don't think it's something where you're going to. Don't expect 300-meter shots, right? You know, I mean, you can stretch that pistol caliber out further with the carbine because of the barrel length and whatnot, but it's not going to give you this rifle type range. So I guess just know what you're getting into when you get one. Also, magazines, depending on the platform, like if it's got the Colt style 9mm magazines, the original AR 9mm magazines, those can be pretty pricey. If you can get something that takes Glock mags, like the New Frontier Armory carbines, then you're doing better as far as long-term costs.
Yeah, I mean, if you go into it understanding that, you know, kind of what the limitations of it are going to be, but it also expands off of, you know, what you can do with the handgun. Interesting comments coming in on the YouTube side here. E-Rock says, to me, 9mm, anything other than a handgun is a poor choice IMO. You know, I mean, you could argue, though, the 3 points of contact with any kind of a carbine where you might be a little more accurate, you might have better range, you might be a little more successful with a 9mm PCC versus a 9mm handgun just in general. But then you got the ease of mobility of a 9mm handgun, depending on what you want to do with it. So, you know, if you just want something to play around with, or you want a truck gun, or say you want to set up a 9mm PCC, run subsonic, put a can on it, home defense, you know, that's always an option too. To me, I would almost consider going up to 300 Blackout at that point, just because of the purpose-built idea behind that round. What else do we have here for some comments? Where was it at? E-Rock says it's super nice having some different calibers in the AR platform that have more horsepower. You know, I always forget about going like 40 or going 10mm or going 45. Even like High Point offers a lot of different options, but you can build your AR to whatever caliber you want these days, it seems like. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where if you get it, it's going to do what you want it to do, but just, you know, be prepared to maybe tinker around just a little bit. Let's see, Rhinon says AKV greater than AR9. Yeah, I've got an AKV, but the only problem with that is that now if you want to get one, it took me 2 months to get one. I had to jump on that email I got from PSA within 5 minutes to order the one that I wanted. And I dropped almost $900 on that thing. I think it was $869 delivered. And so that's, you know, that's a decent amount of cash. And if you've already got the parts sitting around, or you want to just piece together an AR9, you can go that route, or anything else for that matter. 9mm anemic. Yeah, I mean, but if you run a nice plus P round through it with that extended barrel length, you're going to gain a little bit of horsepower, I think, but that's something to consider. So now let's kind of transition over to the 300 Blackout option. I've had nothing but great luck with 300 Blackout so far. 8.5-inch upper, and also behind me I've got a 10.5-inch pistol build right here. And when I bought this with the intention of possibly running the subsonics through it, putting a can on it, getting a full power round that was designed to burn out of a barrel, I believe between 8 and 9 inches, and give you the full powder burn. And, you know, 300 Blackout's always been a more expensive round. So if money is not a concern for you, I highly recommend getting into 300 Blackout. I really do like it. You know, I think it's kind of giving you a little more reliability and stability in a platform than, say, an AR-47, even though you could argue 7.62x39 and 300 Blackout. You know, they're I'm not going to say that they compare to each other close, but, you know, they sometimes go together in the platforms that they're adapted for. Squib, what's been your experience with 300 Blackout? Okay, Squib might be getting a cup of coffee. Defense Dad or Single Shot, have you guys had any experience with 300 Blackout, or ever considered picking one up?
I've not shot it, but you know me, I'm cheap, so the ammo cost kind of steers me away.
Yeah, Barnall came out with if that's how you pronounce it, the imported steel case Russian 300 Blackout just showed up last year, and I managed to snag 100 rounds of it, bought it at $11 a box before the prices went crazy. And it's showing back up again now online as being in stock. What's really disappointing is all the retailers are now selling it for basically 20 something a box. So it's steel case 300 Blackout that's selling for $20 a box, whereas we used to get, American Eagle brass case for $17 or $18 a box. So if you get in a 300 Blackout, it is a pricey platform to buy into. I'd recommend getting, say, a case of 500 or 1,000 if you can save more money per round initially. As for cycling issues, I've had no problems at all. Now, I've not fired that Barnall ammo yet. I want to test that this summer. I have not had a chance to run it, but any of the 300 Blackout ammo that I've ever bought, whether it's been Remington or American Eagle, it's just run great. I've had no problems with it whatsoever. And I also did a video showing the difference. Then you start to talk about barrel lengths. Do you want to go 8.5 inch or 10.5 inch? My recommendation for 300 Blackout, you have a little bit of a velocity loss between 8.5 and 10.5. I did a whole video on this, and maybe I'll put a link to it at the end of this video once it's all done and published. And you do have, you lose, I think, about 75 to 100 foot-pounds of energy going from 10.5 to 8.5. You also lose velocity, about 175, 200 feet per second. And that was running the same ammo out of both guns. But then again, you've got a little bit less mobility with the 10.5 inch upper. So, I personally don't recommend that you go with the shortest barrel that you possibly can if you do one of these non-5.56 builds, because you're going to be losing some efficiency. Now, Defense Dad, you got to admit, the 8.5 inch 762 by 39 is pretty fun to play around with.
Yeah, it's kind of fun for not a good reason. Like, it shoots that giant fireball because it's not burning up all the gas, but you shoot it, you're like, there you go.
I'm going to get mine out. I'm going to chrono it and just see what it does versus what the box says it's supposed to produce versus what that 8.5 inch upper really, like, what kind of power loss and powder loss are you really talking about? Because, we're like, oh, yeah, you're going to lose so much power out of an 8.5 inch barrel. I want to know how much. I mean, what is this thing going to, is it even worth trading off versus a 16 inch, Yeah,
because I was actually looking at 16 inch uppers last night.
Yeah, and I want to get to those in a second because we have a question here coming in from the YouTube side. So, again, not to run through these different calibers quickly, but 300 Blackout, it's great. I do recommend the Magpul 300 Blackout magazines because they are physically different inside, and the case itself is different from a 5.56 mag. You can use a 5.56 mag. I have, and I've not had any issues at all. But the Magpul mags are about $1 more than the 5.56. They've got a heavier duty spring. They've got a different color follower, a different peg on the bottom so that you don't mix them up with your 5.56 mags. They're molded 300 Blackout, and they have a different texture on them, and they have a different cutout for a wider range of bullet types. So I think they're worth the investment. I've got about 7 or 8 of them right now, and they've all run great. I've never had problems with them. I think that they're starting to do a 20 now also, so it's a little bit easier to bench, or for states that have mag restrictions, or maybe they're doing a 10. So Magpul's just coming out with the 10 or 20 rounders, I believe, this year that are made for 300 Blackout. And I might pick up a 10 rounder just to kind of play around with. And like I said, I love 300 Blackout, but it's just insanely expensive right now. Just like a lot of ammo, but it's with 300 Blackout, it seems like it's even worse, probably because it wasn't as plentiful as other calibers anyway to start. So, all right. So, Defense Dad, you said you're thinking about going 16 inch. The question that we have from the audience is, what's your take on the 16 inch 762 by 39 upper? Okay, what do you think about it?
I mean, that's what I was looking at Bear Creek just because it's kind of a budget thing, and they got them down right now to like the $325, which is attractive because I've already got lowers. It's an option. I'm kind of torn because I've been looking at. We're talking on. This isn't an AR platform, but I've been looking for a Ruger PC carbine. Mm-hmm. Probably end up getting both if I'm being honest, but I can get that upper and have something functional for about half the price right now.
The thing I'll tell you about that, I loved my 16 inch. I had a rear charging Bear Creek Arsenal 16 inch 762 by 39 upper. I just had flip up iron sights on it, put a red dot on it. I ran, I think it was either an Anderson or PSA lower on it. It was set up as a rifle. Ran great. And the funny thing is that 16 inch one had no trouble firing all kinds of different ammo, but my little shorter one did. That was kind of odd, even though they were basically the same lowers. So I don't know what the deal is. I never did put an enhanced firing pin in that 16 inch upper. Now Now, about that, though, the only issue with that is that with the large 30-round mag, it's just kind of awkward because it's just so big.
Yeah.
Maybe consider going 10.5-inch instead, kind of compromise between the two, get a little more powder burn, but not have all that extra length and weight on the end of it. I'm just saying because I had mine on a bipod, and it was almost like a freaking DMR, which it was only 762 by 39, so it's kind of overkill.
Yeah, I was looking at the ones that had the shorter handguard to save a little bit of weight on them, though. Because me personally, I kind of want the longer barrel. I'm not as into like the pistol ARs as the rifle ARs, just personally. But I'm a big guy too, so I don't know. For me, it just feels more comfortable having that. I like having a little bit longer reach on my support hand.
True. Yeah, it also kind of depends on how it fits you. I mean, I found it kind of heavy and cumbersome, but at the same time, if you can manage it, more power to you. And, you can always get those C Products Defense Duramags in 762 by 39 in 20 and 10 rounders,
Yeah. Yep, I have, let's see, I've got 3 or 4 30s, and I've got a couple 20s still, so.
Okay.
Yeah, because I planned on building another one.
Mm-hmm. And you got plenty of 762 by 39 ammo. You don't have to worry about that. So you're sitting good there.
Yep.
Which it's still, I don't know what prices are these days for. I mean, I haven't had to buy a lot of ammo for a while now. So I'm not sure if 762 by 39 is much cheaper than 5.56 now or not. Price per round is probably running about the same. But before, you could get your steel case, your Tula or whatever for about half the price of 5.56. So that's kind of what got me into the whole 762 by 39 AR idea. I think that that caliber is a little, it's a good thumper. I mean, it does kick pretty good, but it's not that uncomfortable to shoot. And you're still, I mean, the thing is, if you got the lower, even with mags in the upper, you're still getting yourself in way below the price of an AK-47 these days. Now, you really can't even compare the two because to me, the AK-47 way more durable, way more reliable platform. But for somebody that just doesn't want to drop $800 or $900 right now, I think the 762 by 39 conversion is a great idea. Just slap that up around one of your 5.56 lowers, and get the right mags, and go to town. And I've only had problems with one C Products Defense Duramag. I just had one that wouldn't pick up a round. I think I just needed to sand down the feeding lips a little bit, which again was weird because I had no problems with it in the 16, but it wouldn't pick up a round in my 7.5-inch or 8.5-inch pistol. So it was just that one mag was just kind of finicky. So you got to be patient with these things. Yeah.
Your tolerances, even from the same manufacturer, there could be a burr someplace you don't see. I mean, there could be so many different things could happen with your upper or your lower that could cause that.
Yeah.
Especially, let's be honest. I mean, even though I'm talking Bear Creek and Anderson and PSA, we're talking the lower price ones. So they're good products. They really are. That's all I own. But there's going to be a little bit of quality control.
Yeah.
Compared to like an Arrow or something else that you spend a lot more money for.
Yeah. And I'm almost thinking maybe from like a hunting perspective, if you want to get that 762 by 39 and get yourself a 5-round mag for it and use it as a hunting rifle, depending on what state you're in. In Nebraska, you could use it if you want to. Granted, you're going to be somewhat range limited to say 250 yards or so. But again, out of a 16-inch, upper with a nice bipod, a good optic on it, it does add a lot of flexibility to it, which is why I like this whole discussion in general, because you can really tinker with a bunch of different uppers and not really have to invest all the way across the board in a whole new gun.
Well, and even though I'm not a hunter, but I know this much is, it's like if someone is going to hunt with one, if you're in a really bushy or wooded area, the 223 or 5.56 gets affected by it, whereas something like the 300 Blackout or the 760 by 39 is going to push through that better.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of discussion out here. We've got one guy says AKV is greater than AR9. The other person says I like my AR9 better than my AKV. Where was it at here? So I want to think it's RHYNON. Renan says 300 Blackout if you want a can, 6.5 Grendel for a good hunting gun. And 6.5 Grendel is one of the few calibers that I have not had a chance to tinker around with yet. Is it the 6.5 Grendel that can use 5.56 magazines? Is that correct? Because there's also, I know 6.5 Creedmoor is not going to work. You got to use that in an LR 308 SR AR10 platform.
Oh, yeah. I got it. Yeah. I've got 6.5 Grendel, but I got the regular magazines for it. By the way, I'm back.
Oh,
and
cool.
We're rolling with just the tractor. We dropped the trailer, so we're scooting her right along.
Hey, you're getting some good gas mileage now.
Oh, yeah.
So now he's going to be drag racing people.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and that video game that you're playing, you can do a lot of neat things if you modify the program. So,
Yeah, what's your 60-foot time with no trailer, man? That's got to be hellacious.
Oh
60-foot time, zero to 60 feet.
Well, 500 horse under the hood. She'll definitely get up and get going.
Heck yeah, man. Do some cookies. Yeah, all right. Tommy Gunn says own an XCR and 6.5 Grendel. And I haven't even. I'm telling you right now, when Dee, when you and I go to the gun stores and stuff, there's ammo is just so thin right now. I'm seeing just odd calibers and stuff. So, it's hard to make an argument to get into anything other than 5.56 because I haven't seen 6.5 Grendel, even 7.62 by 39 on the shelves at the gun store that you and I go to buy ammo in a long time. It's been a while now.
Yeah, but you can make the argument it's maybe not a good idea to get into anything right now if you're just
That's
starting.
a good point. Other than 22 LR, so you can practice with a 22 LR upper also. So
yeah. I say that as someone who started two new calibers during all this crap too. So I'm doing it, but I'm just saying, like, if you're going to build something and you truly want it, get it when you find good deals, and then get ammo for it. As long as you have something else, it's different if you don't already have it.
Yeah. See, Tommy Gunn says also the XCR has interchangeable barrels. I have it in 7.62 by 39. I think Tommy Gunn, you're up in Canada, right? I believe so. E-Rock says I load lots of Hornady VMAX, 110, etc. 300 Blackout mops the floor with 223 in short barrels, which is why I love it, and it hits harder. Yeah, like I said, you're going to get that full powder burn out of about a 9-inch barrel with the 300 Blackout. So that's mainly why I got it, was strictly thinking, home defense. And I did have that shorter upper. I ended up selling the entire gun to another person, but I do have my 10.5 inch because I do enjoy that one. Now, like Bear Creek does have their Gen 2 uppers coming out now, and I'm not being paid to say this, but they do have a better charging handle system on it than what they currently have in the Gen 1s. And then Bear Creek also has left-hand options too, so that's something that's kind of nice also. But I don't think the left-handed charging Gen 2s are out yet. They had Gen 1s from time to time that were left-handed. Because if you're left-handed, and you want to do any of these uppers, you're really going to be limited with the selection, especially once you get away from 5.56.
Well, but here's the thing. So being left-handed, again, that's the reason I got rid of my side charger. They have left-handed side chargers available right now. I'm not going to buy one. I'm going to buy a regular rear charger.
Yeah.
Because the problem is if anybody out there doesn't know and they are left-handed, the sight chargers do not have a brass brake, so it just lets the brass fly back at you. Whereas all my other ARs, they're just regular ones. The brass brake keeps it out of my face. So for that reason, I'm not going to spend the extra money for a left-handed one. Oh
yeah, just go standard, regular charging handle upper, and you should be all set to go. And I'm surprised they didn't put any kind of a brass brake on it at all when they made those uppers. But I didn't have any problems. I shot mine left-handed in my video, and I didn't have any problems with it. But it kind of depends on your hold, your size,
I had to hold it at a weird angle, like almost like half gangster, so it would angle down. Yeah. And then it wouldn't hit me in the face, but then it bounced off my arm every time. Yeah. And it just got annoying, but there's really no place to put a brass brake on those because it's right where at least their style of charging handle has to go back into that slot. Yeah. That they can't put a brass brake on those.
Now, E-Rock's got a great argument. He says, Travis, I can reload Blackout very cheap, 6 cents a round if I want to. That's good, but for somebody just getting into it, or maybe somebody who doesn't reload, and I know you can trim down your 5.56 cases to make it work. And that's great. If you can reload it for that price, man, go right ahead. But I'm just talking about your average person buying into it now that wasn't smart enough to get into reloading at an earlier time. And even then, some of us need a little poking and prodding to get into reloading of our friends like Squib over there. But yeah, if you can reload it for 6 cents a round, that's fantastic. If you've got the materials to do it, man, you go right ahead. So
can I chime in about 300 Blackout reloading?
Go right ahead, brother.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you were already reloading 223 5.56 or already reloading 308 Winchester or 7.62 51 NATO or already reloading 30-06, you're halfway there. You're literally halfway there. That's one of the nice things. I was skeptical about 300 Blackout. I thought at first it was one of those ones. It's a question nobody asked, or, they kept pushing the whole, well, it's good with suppressors kind of thing. And my kid wanted a 300 Blackout AR. So I assembled one for him, took it out to the range. And I was told by Echo and the Bunnyman, he says, you're going to love this thing. It's going to shoot like a 22. I'm going, yeah, okay, whatever. We go out to the range, we shoot it for the first time. And he was absolutely right. It was quieter, whether I was running supersonic or subsonic. We didn't have a suppressor or anything, especially 16-inch barrel. The recoil was nothing. It was like, wow, all of us shot it. When my wife was done, she goes, when are you going to build me one? So I'm like, oh, man. But then when I started looking at it as a reloader, I'm going, all right, I can reform these cases. Deuce and Guns has got a really good video on how to reform the brass. Mm-hmm. But there's plenty of brass with a 300 Blackout head stamp laying around at my range for me to pick up. And I like to have the head stamp on there. So I don't want to use the other brass. There's nothing wrong with the other brass, but I don't want to use it. But I started to say, all right, what have I got to get? And I looked, and I've already got the small primers for 223-556, and I've already got all of the bullets because I reload 30-06. So all I need to wear the dies, literally. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing to it. It really is affordable, and especially if you want to make hunting or self-defense rounds. You can buy some of that. Well, I don't know if it's still available, but the Barnes bullets are mm-hmm. fairly expensive, but they're a lot more expensive if you buy them because somebody already loaded them in packaged mm-hmm. ammo. So it's stuff like that where you can use your 150 grain, like what I use for my Garand, I can load for target ammunition for my son's AR, and it's nice having now I can buy the bullets in bulk and get the savings for both calibers, So there's that extra added advantage to 300 Blackout if you're already a reloader and you're already reloading 30 caliber. You're all set.
What is the actual bullet that you use to reload 300 Blackout? Just a 30 caliber. I mean, obviously, you have different grain weights. It's your
308. It's your same 308 projectile that you would use in 308 Winchester or 30-06. It's the exact same bullet.
Okay.
Yep. And that the 300 Blackout is based more towards the heavier bullets.
Yeah.
But I've got a 154 grain gas check pointed point bullet that I'm casting. I just started casting that. And I'm going to be using that on my 300 Blackout along with my 30 Harriet. So I've got two of the 223 5.56s. One of them is 223 Wild, as a matter of fact. 6.5 Grendel. I've got the 450 Bushmaster. I've got 7.62 by 39. So I've got a few of them, and so far they've worked really well. I mean, I've mm-hmm. stuck pretty much towards the 16-inch barrels on them. I've got one that's got a 20-inch barrel on it, but the LR 308, that's a 22-inch match grade barrel, 308 Winchester. That's a heck of a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it comes to reloading, if you can find calibers where you can share components, mm-hmm. primers, cases, bullets, powder. Some of the powder I run in some of the calibers that I use that wasn't what the powder was primarily meant for, but it runs in it. I mean, I've used shotgun powder in 45 ACP, for example. So 300 Blackout is a really good example of that. If you're already into it, this could be a long-term cost savings. And even though I was skeptical about it at first, I'm sold. I really do like 300 Blackout. I've shot 300 Blackout suppressed, and it runs like any other suppressed ammo. So it's I think it's good overall. The only thing about 300 Blackout is if you've got 300 Blackout and you've got 5.56. Be careful with your mags, especially if you keep your mags preloaded all the time. I've got a video showing what it looks like after you fire a 300 Blackout through a 5.56 upper.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's why I said I use the 300 Blackout magazines for Magpul, the specific ones, because they don't cost they're $1 more and they're purpose built for that round. There are differences between that and your Gen M2, MT, M3, 5.56 mags from Magpul. So maybe 300 Blackout might be the caliber to go with. If you want to go with a PCC, I guess you could say, or any kind of a non-5.56 round. But, we got a lot of guys out here that are commenting that do a lot of reloading. So they reload, a 6.5 this or 6.5 that. E-Rock says, yes, I get plenty of brass from the range and I have buckets of lead, so I'm good. I use the Barnes and Lehigh bullets for my self-defense. I run
Yeah,
100,
the Lehigh
110.
ones are good too. That's a good choice.
What was the deal? Was it Remington bought out Barnes or Lehigh? Because for a while I was
Barnes.
buying UMC Remington 300 Blackout, and it was just the Barnes ammo. They were just boxing it up in Remington boxes and reselling it.
Yeah,
So I got a bunch of it.
Remington bought Barnes, but when Remington sold everything, I don't know who ended up with Barnes. So I thought that they were going out of business, but I heard that they're not. I just don't know who took up the reins or to what extent, or if they're merging it with something else, or how that's working.
So we need somebody to run some Google foo for us out there in the chat, guys. Let's find out what happened to Barnes. Are they still in business or not? Because they do make some quality ammunition.
That is a nice plant, too. I've been out there and took a tour of that plant. That thing is awesome. And they're the only one, to my knowledge, that has a 300-yard underground tunnel.
Oh no, there's one other company that has that. It's Beretta up in northern Italy.
Okay.
Beretta has one.
Domestically though, yeah.
So here's a question. Take a poll. So we're talking about PCCs and AR and everything. So what would everybody want to build if they say want a backpack gun?
Backpack gun. I think I'd go with a 45 ACP.
So, and the reason I asked that question, that's part of the reason I'm looking at the PC carbines, because I want that with the Magpul backpacker stock on it.
Matter of fact, I'm thinking about building an upper for 45 ACP.
Okay, so when you say backpack gun, are you taking the upper and lower apart and just throwing them both in a pack?
Yeah. So, because there's a specific backpack from Elite Concealment, I can't remember for that, but most of those backpacks aren't built specifically for ARs.
Is that because you don't want somebody else who's out there hiking to see that you have a rifle?
Well, let's be honest. My fat butt isn't hiking. I want it more for traveling and inconspicuous, so I can take something with a decent barrel with me to have.
Yeah, it literally looks like just like a normal book bag. You wouldn't really think that it's, the whole gray man thing at all. Looking at it just looks like a regular backpack you throw a laptop in or something, Yeah.
My big old butt doesn't do a lot of hiking. I should.
What? You don't want to do the tennis racket bag?
With me walking around with a tennis racket, that'd be more conspicuous than a fully mollied out backpack. I mean, come on.
Okay, so if you're trying,
I ain't much smaller, brother.
If you're trying to keep this in some sort of tactical bag in your vehicle, like some protection detail would, go 50 Beowulf. Fuck it.
This one literally looks like a backpack you would buy at Walmart or someplace.
Yeah.
If you're traveling on vacation and something, you want to take something more than a handgun.
Take it with your Pullman case. They're going to think you got your laptop in there.
When you're going in and out of the hotel, you don't want to advertise that you're carrying some sort of rifle with you.
Isn't it a shame we can't do that, though? You just can't walk into Disney World, and just not have people call the SWAT team on you. Okay, here's the answer for you guys. The owner of Sierra bought Barnes.
Okay, excellent.
Oh, no kidding.
Because Sierra makes great hunting bullets.
Dude, Sierra's awesome, too.
Yep. I've toured that plant, too. That's a nice place.
Here's a question. Oh, we still got to go around with everybody. So, Defense Dad, what would you go with? You'd go with the Ruger PCC?
That's the reason I'm looking at the PCC personally, because it fits into. There's those takedown backpacks that more of those fit, something like that, as opposed to. They do make some that if you get the folding stock or that kind of stuff for an AR, but just for travel purposes, that makes sense to me.
And the Glock mag compatibility. It's hard or Ruger mag compatibility.
Yeah, it takes either Glock or Ruger depending on which adapter you have in it.
That's cool. And I mean, if you can get one at a normal retail price, it'd be about the same as doing a 9mm build when it's all said and done. By the time you get sights, mags, upper, lower, you're looking at maybe $100 difference max. I'm thinking between the PCC and the AR9.
Yep.
Okay. As for me, I would probably do like an 8.5-inch 300 Blackout, because again, you can just slap the two together, push the pins in, and you're ready to go. Just because of the power potential of that round out of the 8.5-inch barrel, the fact you're going to get that full powder burn, full effectiveness. Not that 9mm, plus P out of a longer barrel isn't going to be deadly if you've got the right round or load a hotter round. But me, I would just do the 300 Blackout, the 30-round capacity, the potential of it, the fact you could add a suppressor if you needed to, the quick detach on it. To me, I think that would be about the perfect travel vehicle. Now you're talking like go to war, SHTF. I don't know if you want 300 Blackout because, unless you've got the ammo with you, you might have trouble finding it, say, fictitiously. If you had to go down the road, find it somewhere, you're probably more likely to find 5.56.
Well, and that's part of the PC too. It's 9mm. You can find that pretty much everywhere, and then Glock mags.
Well, we used to find it everywhere. I mean, people have it, but
True.
Squib, what about you? What's your ultimate little backpack PCC idea? What would you go with?
That's one of those questions where I don't have an answer. It's just not a thing for me. I've never considered concealing something in a briefcase or a backpack or some sort of tactical bag. I mean, since you can break down an AR shotgun style, you can pretty much do that with an AR and you're done. Sure. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just something that I've never even really given it a thought to. Some of the takedown rifles that they've got where you can just unthread it or fold it in half. Those are good for aircraft. I will tell you that when we were the pilots wanted extra firepower in case they got shot down because you're waiting for somebody to come in there and get you. So the pilot and gunner on a Cobra helicopter both carried a 9mm handgun, a sidearm for self-defense. We decided to take an M16A2 and break it down shotgun style, so it's shaped like a V, and put it up on the ledge there between the canopy and the controls in the pilot's section of the cockpit, the rear cockpit. The front cockpit, there were too many things in the way. We couldn't give two M16s to the crew, but we could send them up with one M16. And that right there demonstrated to me the another thing about the platform that gives you functions that you don't get with other weapons. We used to break them down shotgun style and put them over our shoulder, so the range safety officer would walk behind us and see that each one of them was disabled. Once you do that, they don't work. So for me, if you were like, hey, in a hurry, what would you? I would just go with any AR, any caliber, any barrel length, any. But those takedown rifles are really good for aircraft. If you've got a private aircraft and you're trying to stow it in there and space, you got a little Cessna or something, space is an issue. It's good for that.
Patrick Pew Pew says, I'm going to be doing some more testing on my 10.5-inch Bear Creek Arsenal 7.62x39 tomorrow. The enhanced firing pin showed up yesterday and going to pick up some more magazines today. Yeah, the enhanced firing pins, if you get a 7.62x39 upper, I'd say from anybody, just get the enhanced firing pin. They're just a little tiny fraction of a bit longer, or the cut is cut back. It's recessed just a little bit more versus a standard firing pin. It allows just a tad bit more reach with that firing pin, so it'll actually make those harder primers go off, especially if you're using some of your steel case ammo, your ammo that has the harder primers on it. So yeah, Patrick, keep us updated on that. Let us know how it works. And you said you're going to pick up some magazines today. Yeah, the C Products Defense mags, usually you can get them at your LGS. You can find them. They're about $27. That's the other thing too, is the magazine cost. If you get away from, say, something that Magpul doesn't make, your steel mags can get a little pricey. There is the Ross Defense Systems Unimag. I've talked about this before, and that's a magazine that's chambered for 6 or 8 different calibers. You can use them in the same mag, and so you could use that for 300 Blackout, or you can use it for 224 Valkyrie. You can use it for 5.56. You can use it for all those different calibers. It's kind of cool. A 6.5 Grendel, I believe, and that's also kind of nice too as an option if you can find them. You can order them online for like $24. But the magazines can also be an issue too.
6.5 Grendel takes a bolt for a 308. It's the same type of deal. I'm thinking about, again, like I mentioned before, the 45 ACP, probably with a 10-inch barrel ish, and you get the bolt carrier group for that.
Yeah.
I just like the 45 ACP cartridge. That thing has got plenty of impact. I am going to take a quick look at the ballistics between the 300 Blackout and the 45 ACP, but I'm still thinking that 230 grain FMJ is going to hit a whole lot harder.
I was thinking if you load a hot plus P round with the right kind of hollow point, I mean, you'd have a very well set up self defense package if you want to go that route in a PCC.
That 45 caliber Hornady XTP. I think they make that in 2 or 3 different bullet weights. That XTP is a performer. flat out. That thing has got a really good design on it. And if you step it up one step further and go with the critical defense style bullet, that's even better for that cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still doing extensive testing on the 450 Bushmaster, the 7.62 by 39, and the 300 Wespa.
Okay.
So it's gonna prove out interesting this summer once it warms up and I actually get the chance to get that chronograph out and start popping some numbers with those AR platform rifles. And I have got a 6.5 Grendel brand new barrel if someone is interested. I'd be willing to sell it outright or do a little bit of dickering if somebody's interested.
What's the length on it?
That's a 18. No, 16. I was right the first time. Stainless steel.
Okay. Let's see. E-Rock says, Travis, I use C Product Defense metal mags on my 300 and it runs like butter. So are you using the 7.62 by 39 mags with your 300 Blackout ammo? E-Rock, is that what you're doing? So, and again, this is kind of nice having all this kind of flexibility and all these different options to the buyer these days. Now, E-Rock also says, if you want to go short, don't go below a 11.5-inch barrel on a 5.56. And I've never tested. I've had some 10.5-inch ARs on the channel, some pistols before, but I have not had a chance to really check, the velocity of it, see what kind of a velocity loss you have versus, like say a 16-inch barrel in 5.56. I've done it with 300 Blackout, and it is there can be a significant difference between those two rounds out of those two different barrel lengths. So that's something to think about also.
I'd like to make one more comment, just a slight segue. Question for everybody. What causes muzzle flash off a weapon's barrel?
I would say it's the powder that doesn't burn that gets pushed out the end of the barrel. The powder that gets sucked out at the end, but it's ignited out past the barrel because it's not burned in the barrel. You? Yeah, is that right?
Out past the barrel. That's right. So if you've got a lot of muzzle flash off of any rifle, any pistol, any caliber, and you're blowing a lot of that power out the end of the muzzle of that barrel, then use a little bit faster burning powder to get rid of that, help get rid of it. We also have on the markets today powders that are specially made, especially for the 5.56 223, that have a component to that ingredient to reduce that considerably.
So you even have that kind of flexibility in 5.56 when you're reloading?
Oh yeah, you got a lot of flexibility there.
Okay.
There is a lot of options you can work with, and I agree with the shorter than 10-inch barrel on a 223. That muzzle blast is going to flat out deafen you.
The 10.5-inch flash, it's almost like a camera flash going off also, especially in low light conditions. Me, I've always been kind of annoyed with it. I mean, I could live with it, and if I had to use it, I would, and I'd get past it. But just at the range, it's like every time you take a shot, it's like the flash is still there, Even though I had a regular A2 flash hider on my AR pistol, I still noticed that. So Kevin June has an interesting question. What is the shortest effective upper length that you should go with? 300 Blackout, I would say 9 inches would be about as short as you want to go. 8.5 inches on 3.5. 5.56, somebody was saying 14.5 inches. What do you guys think about that? For 5.56, we're just saying if you go shorter than 14, you could see some significant losses in velocity and energy. And you're almost defeating the purpose of doing it. You might as well just go with something more effective with that barrel length.
Right. Now, I had a 15-inch bull barrel in 223 that I had for the Contender.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the barrels I lost, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But just about zero recoil, but shooting it under a covered area, you absolutely had to have softies under your muffs because that blast was unbelievable.
Okay. So what about 9mm, 45, 40, 10mm? What would be the shortest barrel length the person would want to go with? Because you got a lot of options. You're presented with like even as short as 4.5-inch uppers that you can buy, 3.5-inch. I mean, crazy short stuff. And then you've got 7.5, 8.5, 10.5. What do you guys recommend? What would be a good is there a happy barrel length that we could find that would work with 9 or 40 or 45 or 10 millimeter that would give you the most effective, I guess you could say, results?
Yeah, well, you got the short barrels on your pistols.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
why
yeah.
put a shorter barrel on a personal carry weapon?
Mobility, I guess,
Mobility,
in terms of a
but
PCC, mobility or concealment options. I would say don't go shorter than, say, 8.5 inches for a
8,
PCC.
9 inches. Yeah.
Just because you're going to gain some velocity. Once you get past, say, 6 or 7, you're going to start to gain some velocity, even maybe past 5 inches. It depends on your round, depends on the powder.
Right.
You're going to gain a little bit of performance and maybe justify having that PCC versus having a handgun.
Yeah. I was thinking, because if you go too short, then, I mean, you're not really getting, other than you got 2 points of contact on it, you're not really getting much.
Yeah.
You're basically just making it a heavy handgun at that point.
Yeah, so that's kind of yeah, go ahead.
Sight radius has to be considered as well. Shorter the barrel, the shorter the sight radius.
E-Rock says, my 5.56 24-inch AR is such a beast, velocity for days, flat shooter. So at what point do you start to not gain any velocity out of a 5.56 barrel? I mean, anything past 20 inches, 22 inches, is that extra 2 inches going to do anything for stability, for velocity? I don't have any ARs that are longer than a 16-inch, so I really couldn't tell you.
Well, every caliber has its maximum usable length of barrel. 22 is actually 16 inches. If you go much beyond 16 inches, you start losing velocity. So your 30 calibers, I'd say probably between 20 to 22 inches.
Okay.
Your smaller 30 calibers, like the 300 Whisper, I'd say 14 to 16. But this is something that an old gunsmith taught me down in Georgia.
Looks like
4-inch barrel on a 22 caliber long rifle, you're going to lose a lot of velocity coming off the end of that muzzle.
But then again, it also might depend on the round that you're running and how you have the grain weight that you're running. It might respond better to a longer, if you're running like a lighter round, maybe you want a longer barrel, or a heavier round, more stability before it exits too. So, I mean, it just kind of depends on what you want to run. Yeah. What is it out there? Black Rain Arms Company says, Black Rain Arms Company says, my go-to-war rifle is my 5.56 bull barrel 24-inch. Now, that sounds like a beast, man. It says it makes a huge difference, Travis. I'm sure it does. I mean, God, in a bull barrel, I'm just thinking of temperature mitigation. I'm thinking of accuracy, stability. That would be pretty wicked, man. That sounds pretty cool. Let's see if we have any other questions coming in from the YouTube side here. E-Rock says, I'd say PCC-wise, I'd say 8-inch. I mean, I guess if you want something out of the box that you're not going to have to worry about, you can go with something like an AKV or Ruger PCC Charger or a carbine. If you buy or an X-Star, one of those X-Star carbines, or even a High Point, right? You're going to get something that out of the box is going to function. But if you don't mind tinkering a little bit, or if you already have the parts sitting around, or it's not a big deal to just go buy an upper and a couple magazines and slap it on one of your currently existing lowers and start to enjoy a whole new caliber and just try it out and see what you think. That's the nice thing, is you don't have to invest a ton of money into a new caliber to get into it. When I say a ton, I'm talking like generally most of these uppers can be had for $350, $400 max. A lot of them, like Bear Creek Arsenal, they're dipping down into the 200s now. The upper 200s are kind of getting back to how they were before this insanity. They're about 50% lower, 25% lower than they were about a year ago. So you can, go ahead.
I was just saying, and like if someone wants a purpose-built like 9mm upper, like Foxtrot Mike's putting some good stuff out for cheap too.
This is true. Yeah. So you definitely want to do some research and just see, what's going to work with what kind of magazines work best with that platform, what kind of ammo cycles through it as good as possible. But be a little bit patient with it. Don't get all upset and frustrated and go sell it if something doesn't cycle properly the first time. Find out what's causing the issues, and it could simply be the ammo that's causing the issues too. So let's see. E-Rock says, I've got rounds pushing 3,600 feet per second out of my 24-inch barrel. That's holy cow.
That's pretty good.
So E-Rock says you use slower powders and ring it out. I'm getting huge velocities over 16 or 20, even 20. Yeah, like I said, if you tailor the round for that 24-inch barrel, you can really maximize that potential. So I don't agree with you at all. I mean, I don't disagree with you at all. I think you're right. I mean, I can see how you can make it work for you. So again, in the end, these days, like I said, it's going to be a little bit of an investment, but you just want to choose what's going to work best for you, what you're most comfortable with. Me, I like 300 Blackout, but like I said, the ammo investment, if you're not ready to put the money into it, if you just want to have one around to have, say, 100 rounds, just to have it on standby, or just to kind of mess around with it a little bit, you've got a lot of options out there these days. So, all right. Well, guys, I hate to cut it short, but I do have a long day ahead of me today. I've got a lot of gun-related stuff going on, good stuff, actually. And so I'm going to go ahead and call it, like I said, quick and dirty discussion on these pistol caliber carbines going non-5.56 in this kind of a platform. And let's see, Ohio 45 ACP, let's address this comment real quick before we go. I'm about 15 minutes behind on the chat. I load my 300 Blackout in aluminum mags, in 5.56 and plastic Magpul mags to keep them separate. Oh, that's always an option too. The fact you can get those steel mags for aluminum mags for what, $9, $10 a piece, you're going to save a couple bucks. Not a bad way to keep those two separated. Some people put rubber bands around their 300 Blackout mags so that they know what they are, or they get the printed ones that say 300 Black or 300 AC on them. So that's also an option too. So, all right. We're going to go ahead and call it. We're going to go ahead and let the panel go ahead and say a few final words, and then we'll call this one an episode. Like I said, it was kind of a short one today, but I got a really busy day ahead of me, and I got to get going. So, Squibload, we'll let you go ahead and start, man. Anything you want to say before we go?
No, not really, other than Happy Easter, everybody.
Oh, yeah, we got that kind of Happy Easter to everybody out there. Enjoy your time off with friends and family. And we were at Walmart yesterday, and like the Easter candy section and like the Easter accessory section was completely wiped out. I think there's going to be some hardcore Easter egg hunts this year. Somebody needs to put ammo in the Easter eggs and do like adult Easter egg hunts, have people pay like $5 to go out in a field and go run and grab Easter eggs full of ammo. I mean, that would definitely generate some money, wouldn't it? I think
good idea.
I know, right?
Really good
Do
idea.
it as a fundraiser. Like you might get 1 round in an egg, you might get 10 rounds in an egg. Somebody just donate a case of 9mm and just go throw it out in some cornfield out in Nebraska, and you pay $5 to go run around and grab eggs,
Or with some of the companies like Duramag making different color magazines, you could just have a bunch of different color magazines and hide them and say, go find the mags or something.
Dude, we should have got like a fundraiser set up with somebody where we just go throw ammo out in the field and you got to go find it. That would just be awesome, man. So anywho, I'm full of stupid ideas. I don't know what to say, guys. Anyway, it's just kind of funny. All right, so Squib, appreciate you being here, man. Thanks a lot. Good to have you here. Yeah, that's right. Early Happy Easter to everybody. Defense Dad, anything you want to say before we go?
No, just good chat. Thanks for having me. Again, I reiterate, Happy Easter, everybody.
Right on, man. Right on. Cool. And Single Shot, anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, Happy Easter, everybody. Be safe. Drive carefully wherever you're going. And we'll work on some videos for the channel here. Like
Cool.
I mentioned before, I've got a few ideas that I'm going to be working on. So keep an eye on the channel. I appreciate y'all stopping by when you do. Subscribe when you do. Like, share.
Yeah.
And take care. God bless. Be safe. America moves by truck.
It certainly does.
I'll just add this one thing. Since it's Easter, get yourself an extra chocolate bunny, because giving your kids one with ears already bitten off is not cool.
Dude, I love the Cadbury caramel eggs, man. That's what I like. The little ones. I got a couple dozen of those last night. Not that I need them, but I got a couple.
Oh, the cream eggs are the best.
That's all that was left at Walmart. All the candy was sold out, and nobody wanted the little mini Cadbury eggs. Probably because they're $4 for a little flat of them, for a dozen of them. And they had the big ones too. They had 5 packs for $3.88, or the little dozen ones for $3.88. I just pop one here and there, Oh, they're so tasty. Oh man, we should have had an Easter candy discussion today. That's what we should have done. We should do like an April Fool's episode and then just change the topic and start talking Easter candy. Hollow bunnies, yes or no? The hollow point bunnies, what's the advantage of the hollow chocolate bunny? Disadvantages. Yeah, I'm just talking out of my butt now. All right, so just a reminder that today's episode was sponsored by SS Pawn, located in Lexington, Nebraska. Guys, make sure you check out SS Pawn. Take the Interstate 80 exit. If you're going across Nebraska, it's pretty much dead center in the middle of the state. You can't miss it. Take the Interstate 80 exit to go into Lexington. Stop in there, say hello to Stan, check out the wares, and SS Pawn will take care of your firearms needs. And so, yeah, let's see who's joining us today on the YouTube side. Lively discussion out there in the chat. So, guys, make sure when you go back and watch this, if you're watching it now, check out the chat. There's a lot of great information that was thrown out there today. Hey, E-Rock says truckers are awesome. Thank you. There you go. There you go. Hey, all right. E-Rock was out there. Kevin June was out there. G23's in the house. Tacos and French fries. Ohio 45 ACP Black Rain Arms Company out there too. Let's see. We got. You guys are talking a lot today. Jeez. Got to find some other people. Patrick Pew Pew was joining in. Snake Doctor 78. Green Badger Outdoors in the house. He goes, I like to see a PCC chambered in 460 rolling. You know, I'm sure that there's probably somebody out there that makes one. If you look around, it seems like there's a caliber. There's something chambered and something for everyone. So Rick's Life, as I see it, was out there too. Make sure you check out his show later on today, right? What time does Rick's Life's show start?
3 o'clock Eastern, the only time zone that matters.
2 o'clock Central Time for those who really care about other human beings. Let's see. Scott 79 is out there. Tommy Gunn, Mario Mosen, Jason Stewart, Watt 75 in the house today. Guys, I appreciate all of you watching. Anybody out there in the chat, if you ever want to join in with the podcast, just shoot me up with an email and shoot me up with an email. Good God, hit me up with an email and we'll get you on the show. Let's see. Jordan Prince is out there too. Shoot me up. Ozzy Osbourne out there too. YNH in the house. Mountain View's watching, says, what's up, guys? What's going on, Mountain View? Young Gun 995. Big audience today. Lots of people watching. And then Ryan and on. I got to get your name figured out, bud. I'm sorry. I'm trying. It's just that use of uppercase, lowercase as a grammar teacher just throws me off. TPC in the house. And I think we'll go ahead and call it there. Also, M. Gabriel, Finding 1393 is out there watching too. All right. And Evan Jacques, tacos and French fries. What's up?
One quick request.
Go right ahead, sir.
Drop a number 1 in the chat if you like this rolling video that I've been doing.
Which one is it?
What's that?
Which video is it?
Oh, it's live. Your live camera.
Well, yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. That's not a video game. He really is actually driving down the interstate. So let's see. And then E-Rock finally says, Travis, check out 45 Super. It's awesome. I don't know if we talked about 45 Super yet. 45 Super. Is that a real caliber?
Never heard of it. I've heard the
45 Super. That's got to